What's going on, DMV? You know what it is. This is that show, Open Shots. We are the DMV source outside of the box thinking information podcast. I'm your host, Alex, along here with my co-host by the name of
Rick.
And we got our special guest coming back again by the name of
John Taylor. No vowels.
No Vowels. Right on. And once again, a huge shout out to Carlos for putting this together. Carlos G in the house, the producer extraordinaire.
Yeah, Lowe's.
Lowe's. So, you know what I'm saying? Rick, Sean, how have your last couple of weeks been since the last time we recorded? Obviously, you know, a lot has changed.
My weekend been good. It's been the same shit. Go to work, same shit. Ain't shit changed.
Okay.
We in quarantine, dog. What the fuck?
Right.
Ain't like they got sports on TV.
Right. Mr. Taylor, what's going on with you, man? What's good with you?
All right, so I'm driving to work, or actually coming home, and all of a sudden, I just see a whole bunch of traffic. And I'm like, no! And then it was actually an accident. So I was like, yes, I've never been so proud. See, I know it's wrong, but quarantine traffic is the greatest thing.
Man, what? Yeah, you ain't lying, yeah. You be flying, yeah. Anywhere you need to go, you there in 10 minutes, yeah. I'm gonna be mad when that shit get back to normal, yeah. As far as that part, you right.
Especially
you right
in Northern
on
Virginia, that's just like I went to a barbecue joint on Thursday. I tried it out and I didn't realize really where I was at until after I left. But I went to Great Falls, Virginia, and getting to that Tyson's area traffic, it sucks. I left my house, got there in 30 minutes. And that was like 6 o'clock in the evening on a Thursday. Yeah, so it worked out. But then after I left the barbecue joint, I was I was the only non-white person there. So I don't know what kind of barbecue. But then I realized I was in Great Falls. And then after I talked to Mr. Taylor, he was like, yeah, they got a Trump golf course out there. And I was like, oh, shit. I was really kind of – well, all right. Well, it's good that you guys are with us again. Thank you for taking your time out on a Saturday night. Again, y'all could have been at the club or the bar, but y'all are here with me.
What club? What bar? What you mean? Everybody home.
Hey, people out there doing it. Look at Florida and Texas, and
that's why they sick now.
Okay, well, I was just driving back from Oni, you know what I'm saying, having dinner at my folks' house, and there's this joint up there, like it's like a microbrewery kind of thing that just opened up, like a little farm bar. That joint was packed. They was having a festival, dog. Talking about like probably close to 100 cars.
Really?
And yes, it was packed like the concert was happening. So people are getting out there and they are doing their thing.
We next. So. We next. If we saying that, we next. We about to go right back up. We next.
Well, it's funny if this country can't figure out something simple as healthcare. I don't know how they're gonna do it in a pandemic, man.
Well, see, it's not. I don't even look at it in terms of healthcare. I look at it in terms of just general follow directions. You know what I mean? The government's saying stay home. People are like I know more than
but I knew that shit was gonna happen, young, especially in America. You can't tell Americans to stay home. They're like, fuck you, I'm going outside.
Yep. Yeah, we've been saying that.
You know what I'm saying? This ain't fucking China where they smoke you in the head if they don't listen.
Yeah. Beat you in the street.
It starts with inequality. As soon as somebody isn't treated the same, they won't listen to the rules. And then once a lot of people aren't listening to the rules, then everyone's gonna start doing their own thing. And that's kind of how it is.
Right.
Like, for example, if you're poor and the quarantine hits and you still got to make money or you lose all your shit, you're not going to listen. You know what I mean? If you're sick, you're still going to go to work because no one's going to bail you out if you don't go to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this equality is what we have to fight against.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the point has been made. I know my mom said this, which she was like, the question is, are you going to stay at home and die from not having money? Or are you going to, go out there and die from getting sick? So at the end of the day, you got to put, food on the table. And that's unfortunately a risk a lot of people are willing to take. It's just unfortunately capitalism. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's get into the topics. We definitely got similar topics as our last show. Once again, to our listeners, thanks for listening to us. Thanks for chiming in, checking us out. Hit us up at openshotsdmv@gmail.com. Once again, that's openshots at openshotsdmv@gmail.com. My bad, y'all. So first topic we're going to get into is Black Lives Matter. We're going to talk about several topics there, including criminal justice reform, qualified immunity, lynching seem to be on the rise, and what change have we seen since George Floyd's death. Our second topic, we're going to get into coronavirus, again, an umbrella topic. We're going to look at the WHO numbers again. Countries with steady growing numbers. Is there a resurgence in the U.S.? Specifically, unfortunately, we got to look at the South and be like, what the hell's the matter with y'all?
Beijing.
Well, Beijing is looking to cancel classes. I think they've already announced that they're canceling classes indefinitely at this point. And is there a miracle drug out there yet? So we'll get into that. We're always going to get into the topic that just keeps us hot. Of course, Rick, who is it?
Donald Trump, yeah.
Donald Trump. So this week, he's held a rally in Tulsa during the Juneteenth celebration. We also need a definition of Juneteenth. So, our listeners can understand. Trump had the Dreamers Act was upheld by the Supreme Court this past week. And
they said fuck Trump too.
Yeah, and there's a condemning book coming out by Bolton, his former, security advisor, national security advisor.
John Bolton. He too late. He should have fucking testified in January.
Well, he's dropping a book that's supposed to be coming out.
Fuck him.
I think our last two topics.
He's a little too late for that bullshit.
Well, it's still newsworthy. Our next two topics are going to be, we're going to get into sports. Again, we're going to talk about the NBA, MLB, NFL, where we're at right there. And, we're going to close it with a wrap up, which we're going to have a couple of kind of surprise intro topics. We'll get to that at the end, though. We keep you guys listening and staying until the end. So let's get into it. Black Lives Matter. Criminal justice reform, restructuring. Republicans have introduced a bill, and this is coming from Vox News. The bill, and I'm quoting Vox News, Republicans are introducing a bill which is, quote, led by Senator Tim Scott, Republican of South Carolina, the only black Republican member of the Senate, which is focused on a few key tenets. It aims to improve data collection about police use of force and no-knock warrants, calls on state and local police stations to document police misconduct, and directs the Justice Department to establish de-escalation guidance. While some provisions overlap with what Democrats have introduced, like the focus on documenting police misconduct, the scope of the bill, dubbed the Justice Act, is notably more limited than that of the Democrats' Justice in Policing Act. So, guys, what do you guys feel in terms of just in general the Republicans now being like, we need to introduce this justice reform bill or a criminal justice?
If it wasn't an election year, they wouldn't do none of that bullshit. I don't believe nothing they say. They all form in line with what fucking Trump do.
Do they really care?
No, they don't give a fuck.
Right, and it just happens to be. Go ahead.
If it was 2018, they wouldn't care.
To kind of build on what Rick is saying, so we had where Mike Lee, he's the Utah Senate, he came on, and he said something has to change. So they're trying to have that tone, but in the previous years, with Obama, when he was heading the Justice Department and all the things that they had, they came in with the new regime, Jeff Sessions, and he personally was responsible for stopping a lot of the things Obama had in play. So in a sense, if the Republicans really felt this way, why was Sessions doing this? And then even last year at Trump's rally, one of the associates from the Minnesota department, something that he had blocked, he says, now we can finally do our jobs and put the cuffs on the criminals and not ourselves. So definitely there was something in play, and the police union, that's why they love Trump and they love the Republicans, because they continue to allow them to get away with it. So exactly. Now, with what they're, presenting, it's kind of hard to say, wait a minute, how did you guys do a 180?
Well, I mean, I kind of give the analogy of this. It's like, they give you all the ingredients to make, to barbecue and make your hamburger and cheeseburgers. They bring you the bread. Essentially you're supposed to have the bread, the cheese, the meat, the buns, ketchup, lettuce, tomatoes, mayonnaise. Well, it would appear after all of these years of Republican control, they've taken away all those things, and all you're left with is onions, and then they give you your dressing, and it's like, don't you love the salad? It's a big salad. You know what I mean? And it's like, but that's, you know what I mean? You're given the bare minimum. So I don't know that I can really legitimately take them as
they're doing a lot of lip service. That's all I see. I don't take nothing what they say serious.
Yeah, and
they just playing politics. They don't give a fuck. It's almost as close to election. They're gonna probably try to just keep kicking the can down the road and just wait for Trump to try to get reelected and say fuck this shit.
Well, let me run by some of the things in the bills, and you guys can comment to say like, well, I think this will stick, or I think this won't stick. I'll give you about 6 of them. There's going to be penalties for false reports. So if the police lie on the report, there'll be penalties.
What the fuck that mean? What the fuck that mean? I mean, if you get 6, are you no longer police? I mean, what the fuck? What if you get 38 in 1 year?
You go to police jail.
What the fuck does that mean? You get penalized with a 15-year penalty? What the fuck?
Oh man.
The fuck is that?
Another one they got. They don't want to ban the chokehold or
that's bullshit.
Or deadly force, but they want to make it not part of the procedure. And if you are in a situation where you are authorized to use deadly force, then you would be able to use the choke. They also want to establish more grants so you can get body cams. More officers can get body cams. And as a UTAC, I forget his name, but he had mentioned, because he went over the specs with how bad the body cams are compared to your iPhone. So apparently, not iPhone, but the Google phone takes better pictures than the body cam. Then another one, I think this is important, and I can see this happen, a database of disciplinary records for hiring. So if you want to hire a cop, you can see.
That's good.
You know.
Hell yeah.
But shouldn't that already be standard in your background check?
It's
like, why are you applying for this position? Oh, you were fired, or you've been unemployed?
This is what I know. When you're working with somebody, that's your crew. When you have to work with someone outside of your crew, it gets a little mucky. So you don't like to have what goes on in your house being shared with another house. And you see that with
they the police. They need to stop that shit. That's why the shit fucked up. Yeah.
I know.
Fuck, man.
But I mean,
that's why the shit fucked up now. You can work for a big city police, get fucking fired, and go work for the town of Evanston, and nobody they don't give a fuck.
Well, I mean, here's the irony. Bullshit. Because the military is all under one jurisdiction. You know what I'm saying? So you have like the Department of the Navy answers to the head of the Department of the Navy. Where the police, they're all agencies. They answer to the agencies. Yeah. So
their union strong too. Police. Yeah. Their union strong as shit.
We're gonna get to what you just mentioned,
ST,
Mr. Taylor.
Baby. ST period.
Yeah, we're gonna get to what you mentioned, Mr. Taylor, and with what you're talking about and the limits that they're trying to put on police officers and what they're gonna include in
what the fuck that mean though?
Well, so
the limit.
Yeah, so what they're going to potentially include in a potential bill, but I wanted to get into something that we mentioned last show, and it's qualified immunity. This is coming from the Cornell Law School Legal Information Institute at law.cornell.edu. So I just want to quote, and this is just an overview of qualified immunity. Quote, qualified immunity is a type of legal immunity. Qualified immunity balances two important interests. The need to hold public officials accountable when they exercise power irresponsibly, and the need to shield officials from harassment, distraction, and liability when they perform their duties reasonably. This comes from a case, Pearson versus Callahan. Continuing, specifically, qualified immunity protects a government official from lawsuits alleging that the official violated a plaintiff's rights, only allowing suits where officials violated a clearly established statutory or constitutional right. When determining whether or not a right was clearly established, courts consider whether a hypothetical reasonable official would have known that the defendant's conduct violated the plaintiff's rights. Courts conducting this analysis apply the law that was enforced at the time of the alleged violation, not the law in effect when the court considers the case. So essentially, if the bill gets passed by the Republicans now, it doesn't count for what has happened in the past. It's only moving forward. And I'm going to end it on this. Qualified immunity is not immunity from having to pay money damage, but rather immunity from having to go through the cost of a trial at all. Accordingly, courts must resolve qualified immunity issues as early in a case as possible, preferably before discovery. So, I mean, after reading that definition from Cornell Law, it's almost like it really is an ultimate, bulletproof vest, protection, invisible fence, ADT security system
get rid of that shit.
On not being accountable.
That's bullshit.
So what are your thoughts? And, some of our listeners have no idea what qualified immunity is, and that's why, see a lot
I ain't know about that shit until all this shit started happening. I ain't never know the police, you can't do that shit to them. That's bullshit. They gotta get rid of that shit. Because what the fuck, dog? They people just like us. They need a fucking, their court system need to be just like us. They fuck all that. That's bullshit.
I'll be honest with you. Because I've known about that because of what happened, the shooting in my family. Because that's what you do. You sue the agency. You can't sue the individual cop. You sue the agency. You can sue the county. You can sue all the things around. But what I think the problem is the cops. This is something, it's a very strong point. A lot of people learn in college, and I think this is why you're seeing the disarm the police or ban the police, the whole movement is going, is because societies that are police maintain crime. Societies that don't have police, they eliminate crime because it's up to the individuals to say something and prevent it from getting big, to where a lot of people say, oh, the cops will take care of it. They just brush it aside. They don't want to deal with getting their hands dirty and keeping their neighborhood safe. So I think no matter what you put in play to protect the police, if the community takes the community and they're in charge of the community, the police can't do anything. You know what I mean? They're not even enough of them to watch 350 million people. You know what I mean? So I mean that's really what you're saying. You're saying, hey, I want 600,000 people to protect 350 million people.
And I know Rick, you're pretty adamant about this, that the prosecutors, the state's attorney, district attorneys, and the police are pretty much
they all work together.
Yeah. So if they can, what it said in that definition was like they're trying to essentially find a solution to the problem before discovery. You know what I mean? So it's almost like it just reads like there really is no justice or any kind of legal.
Not when it comes to them.
Yeah, it's just like kind of we'll kind of make it up as we go.
Keep this in mind. If you sue the cop, what do you get? You know what I mean? You might not even have a boat. Let's keep it real. You sue the department, it's always $1 million check. But I think at the end of the day, you put enough pressure on the organization. And that's what a lot of people do. They always go after the establishment. And that financial pressure forces them to change their culture,
Okay. I want to get into, so let's keep it moving. We're still on Black Lives Matter. Once again, this is that show, Open Shots. Hit us up at openshotsdmv@gmail.com. I'm your host, Alex, along here with Rick. Rick, what you sipping on?
You already know the motherfucking Ninja Turtles, baby.
Right on. And we got a special guest by the name of
Sean Taylor.
Yes,
right on. Again, big shout out to Carlos for getting this together again. So do appreciate it. Let's go into one last. We'll do two more umbrella topics here that are going to be, just sub or bullet points to Black Lives Matter. I was listening to a report on the other day on Democracy Now. I think it comes on like 89.3, like 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. And pretty much they're stating that lynchings seem to be on the rise. And I'm gonna go ahead and quote for you. This is from democracynow.org on June 18th. Quote, authorities are now probing the recent hangings of 6 people of color in 4 states. Officials have ruled every case to be a suicide.
Yeah.
But we fear some of the deaths might be modern-day lynchings. On Wednesday, police found a 17-year-old African-American boy hanging from a tree in an elementary school playground in Spring, Texas. On Monday, a Latino man was found hanged in Houston. Hangings have also been reported in New York City and in the California cities of Victorville and Palmdale. Meanwhile, a hate crime probe has begun in Oakland, California, after 5 nooses were found hanging from trees in the city. Now, end quote. Now, if you believe that in the case of the one gentleman who was found hanging at an elementary school, I mean, that totally makes sense when you commit suicide, right? You go to an elementary school, you throw the rope over, you hang yourself from a noose, and you put yourself out there so everybody can see you commit suicide. I mean, that's normal for hangings. I mean, it totally makes sense for suicides, because that narrative that they're throwing out there that they're suicides, it, as open thinking and critical thinking people like us, it really is shameful. And it also really appears that lynchings from the 30s, 20s, 40s, 50s, and 60s haven't really gone anywhere. It's just been a repetition of it was suicide, but they've been going on the whole time. Now we're just refocusing on it. And it may be that the number's on the rise. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Man, when I first heard about that shit, I thought that shit was crazy. I couldn't believe that shit, but I don't think that shit's suicide, man. People that commit suicide usually do it in a place where they feel comfortable, and that's usually at home. And that bullshit saying it's suicide, I don't believe none of that shit. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's scary to the point with like the whole Jesse Smollett, where he faked him being beaten up. So now it opens up to, I could be black, I don't like you, and I hang you. And now all of a sudden, everyone's gonna think a white person did it or whatnot. But the whole narrative.
Hey, that's what crossed everybody's mind, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
You ain't lying. When you do some shit like that, you like, yeah, nah, this white person did that shit. Like,
yeah, exactly. And I think what's crazy about that is you can't ask for reasonable doubt when you weren't proactive in taking your name off of the suspicion list. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, you still see the nooses all around America. You still see the racial jokes. You still see white America not taking it serious. So when it happens, you have to say, well, you know what? You guys are the ones not taking it serious. So you're likely the ones doing it.
Well, see, I don't know that I have an issue with it, but I kind of want to clarify because, you know what I'm saying? My daughter's half white. I have white friends. I have black friends. So when you say white America, I kind of got a reserve for it. I kind of go to like ignorant / racist / nationalist America, because there's plenty of people that live in our neighborhood that are white who don't even come close to thinking like that. I mean, we had a conversation the other day, me and you, Mr. Taylor, with the neighbor who lives right down the street. She's not, I don't really consider her part of like what you would consider white America. You know what I mean? But the racists and the nationalists, they obviously, you know, they think their own way. So, you know.
Well, you know, I feel you where you're coming from, and I do try to separate it. I have been doing that on social media lately. But I call it, you know, I mean, it's a quarterback syndrome. Tom Brady throws the ball, had a shitty-ass game. Some dude intercepts it at the last second and wins it for the Patriots. But who gets the credit? The quarterback. You know what I'm saying? He throws a perfectly great pass to his tight end, and he drops it in the end zone. They lose the game. Who gets the blame? The quarterback. You know what I mean? So a lot of the things white people benefit from, they have to accept the fact that there's going to be certain things that they're not going to benefit from. So that's where we are until they clean that up. And that's everybody. Everybody has to deal with the fact that when you're put at a position, this is how the world sees you, and this is what you have to fix. And in that same breath, they'll go look at a Muslim person who did something, and everybody will say, oh, why aren't the Muslims fighting these other Muslims who are being bad? So it's the same energy.
Okay. I think our last bullet point for Black Lives Matter, and we're going to wrap it up with this, is have there been any changes since George Floyd's deaths? What have you guys seen?
People still getting smoked. What do you mean? Ain't no fucking change.
No, there's been some big changes. Are you kidding? You know what I mean?
I still getting smoked, right? Police still smoking everybody. It's another fucking Saturday night in the United States of America.
Okay, but I'll give you at least five, 6 big changes that are very, very noticeable. Okay. All right. So some departments, Minnesota starting being the first, and even in Texas, which is incredible, they have banned chokeholds and no knock warrants within their department.
As they should.
They should. You know what I mean? So it's not mandatory yet, but they were proactive. They said, we're going to do it first. The statue's being taken down. That started after the death.
That should have been.
So we're almost Confederate
should have been happening.
They should have been gone. They should have been gone. They should never been put up, period. But we know why they got put up, but they should all get taken down. My personal opinion.
Well, it's also important to remember when they got put up.
Yeah.
Right. Right. So now it's 2020. They got to go.
Now, this is the biggest to me. I would say cops being charged. That's another one. So like some of the cops.
Hey, I can take that. I like that. Like I don't need like even if the motherfucker get fined. I'm glad the motherfucker had no bond. The motherfucker out Atlanta. I'm perfect with that because me and you had no bond. I smoked somebody, leave him in the back. I get no bond. So let his ass sit in a year. If he beat the shit, if he could get 12 Atlanta people, 12 jurors, not to convict a police officer in this day and age, more power to him if he could get scot-free. But let his ass sit there for a year. Because murder junks take like at least 12 months to 18 months just to go to trial. Let his ass sit there.
But this is my favorite out of the changes that have come. We've seen corporations accept Black Lives Matter.
It's about the money.
Including the NFL.
You get caught on camera doing something stupid,
it's
you're
money.
Gone. Goodbye.
It's money. What you mean?
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, that's another one. The media has stepped in. So Netflix has taken down 2 movies One, because the people were
Please not Gone with the Wind. Please not Gone with the Wind.
Oh, I think Gone with the Wind was something. There was something.
They
with
took it off
Gone
of
with
Disney.
Yeah, he's right. There was something about that.
Yeah. Yeah, but so I mean, yeah, it's really been a lot of instant change. It's almost like people had a playbook ready for this type of event to happen, and they're like, we're just going to do this, and that. So I've seen so much change within the last couple of months that I've ever seen, like within the last 10 years.
Agreed.
So definitely, they're really making a lot out of this guy's death, which is a good look at.
It's a good thing, but you know, it ain't changed like how I want to see change. That's just bullshit. They all making change because they trying to save their pocket. That's all they doing. That's not real. I mean,
but
I guess that's how you can start change. You got to start somewhere. Okay, I get it. But man, fuck, if they weren't about the bread like motherfucking 4 years ago, NFL ain't give a fuck about Colin Kaepernick. Now they admit that they was wrong.
I want to get back to something that Rick said, which was like, it's still another Saturday night in America. I was having a conversation with my man, Mike Wesson the other day, and he was like, he mentioned something about Breonna Taylor, and I'm like, okay, so I'm not too familiar with, Breonna Taylor. Can you explain? He's like, oh, don't worry about it. There's so many of them happening right now. It's okay to like lose track because
that's the one out of Louisville, right?
That was Texas, the no-knock warrant. And they hit
the
wrong
Louisville
house. Oh, okay. Well, they hit the wrong house, and they
killed her.
Right, because I think her boyfriend started bucking because he thought somebody's breaking in the house.
What the fuck is at my door? Yeah.
Right. So, but what I'm getting to the point is that my buddy who was like, there's too many cases. Don't even worry about it. There's so many cases. Don't even worry about too many to get into. And I just start thinking about like, this reminds me of the 50s and 60s when you hear about lynchings and bombings. There's too many in history, to deal with. And now, right, that we're really paying attention. I think a lot of people are really paying attention right now is we see that there are still so many more cases and it's happening regularly. We just haven't put it on blast until really now. That's our wrap up on Black Lives Matter. Once again, this is a show, Open Shots. Hit us up at openshotsdmv@gmail.com. I'm your host, Alex, along here with
Rick.
Rick, we stepping on.
Motherfucking Hannigan, a.k.a. Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, special guest by the name of Sean Taylor. Mr. Taylor, what you sipping on?
ST Prairie.
Oh, man. So I'm sipping on
Red Bulls.
Red
Bulls and no sleep. I know how you do. All right. So that was our wrap up on Black Lives Matter. You know what it is. You know what it does. Let's go ahead and move on to our second topic. Again, we're starting off with Black Lives Matter. Second topic, coronavirus. Then followed up by Donald Trump, and we're gonna end our last two topics on sports. And a couple surprise topics to get you to end. But so let's get into coronavirus. So the WHO numbers right now, where are we at? Can anybody kind of give me an idea of, by the countries what we're looking at?
Our country?
Well, countries, if the numbers are on the rise right now, what it's looking like in the U.S.
Shit, the whole fucking Trump land is going crazy. They dying like a motherfucker. They dying every day. Because they dumbasses want to open up in fucking May and Memorial Weekend, all that bullshit. Now it's coming to kick their ass in the now it's biting their ass.
Mr. Taylor, you got some numbers for us?
Oh yeah, so the Sun Belt, they've gotten the highest case numbers recently.
Where? One more time?
The Sun Belt. So that's everywhere that kind of hits
the South. Belt. Let's just say the South.
All right, we can go to the South.
SEC states.
Yeah.
Ain't no football this year.
No, definitely not no football. So in a sense, I guess what they're saying, they're comparing it to what you're seeing in the South to kind of Germany, where Germany, with some of their cases, they had 1,000 out of 1,000 people. They said like 700 people were tested positive that worked at a meat factory. So I guess they were making the meat. And out of 1,000, like 700 people that they tested, 700 So that's.
But doesn't it disappear when you like cook meat or what?
Bacteria.
We're just worried about the workers inside.
60 degrees. It should go away.
But we're worried about the workers in the factory. I think that's the main focus.
That's in Germany. This is every country for themselves at this point. We should be worried about America. It's like the Walking Dead right now. They don't give a fuck about us right now.
But
now if Donald Trump is president, because he's like fuck them, so they're gonna be like fuck us.
Now these are Bloomberg numbers for these numbers. Adding on to that, so far since Thursday, we have had 150,000 cases and
new cases.
New cases.
That's sad.
And with what's going on in the world, we've had 8.6 million people that's been affected so far. And according to CNN, they recently tested 36 new people who had COVID by the Beijing Jinfadi market. And now they're in the high 70s as far as cases.
And again, to read it, I think, oh, no, we're going to mention it in this section. Okay, I mean, so the numbers are going up, especially like what you said in the Sun Belt, those SEC states, like what Rick said, Donald Trump country. So
he was telling them, don't worry about it. It's going to go away in the summertime. All they really wanted to care about is to get the economy going, which I get a little bit, but right now people are sick. And he's like I said, young, he's playing fucking people's lives for the fucking election. All he had going for him was the economy. He's trying to open it back up. Now more people gonna die. That's on his hands, young. That's how I feel.
Right on. So
I mean, true that.
So in terms of numbers, like globally that are coming up, obviously you just mentioned Beijing and China. Brazil is like the president of that country is an idiot. Their numbers are consistently rising.
Then you also have other baby Trump.
Yeah, and they also have Mexico is also, their numbers are on the rise too, because they're out in public and campaigning and this and that.
They had a number yesterday on fucking the news. Fucking South Korea had the shit before us, and they still don't. They ain't even break 600 deaths in the whole country.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's just
what the fuck are they doing that we not doing?
Well, number
for
one
starters,
could be
they're more healthier.
Yeah. I get that. And even if you want to compare like by population, I guarantee you it ain't gonna be over fucking 1 point. I mean, we're not in the millions as far as deaths, but I know if you look at our population in America, we're a quarter of the people sick, and we're a quarter of the motherfuckers that's died globally. Just our country alone.
But here's some numbers for you that'll even blow your mind even more. So this was sometime last month where they were saying only 5% of the population has been exposed. So can you imagine what this is going to look like when it's in the 10s and 20s?
Yeah.
Because if you really think about it, how many people
But 5% is a high number. Once you get to 2%, that's considered a pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that means we've been there. We've
we almost tripled it.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? You don't never want the shit to get above 1%. Once you get above 1%, you need to be like, whoa, what the fuck? We already at 5. I was like, yeah, what the fuck?
What really gets me is if someone in your family dies and now you got to pay funeral. So not only can you not work, but now you got to pay the burial.
Yeah,
that's like people aren't thinking of the secondary damages that is going to be done. It's not just the death that's going to hurt you.
That's a great point. Yep.
That's crazy, huh?
Yeah. Well, let me get into something that has really been coming up recently. We went over obviously the global health numbers, and Mr. Taylor was giving us numbers from Bloomberg in terms of the countries, and we mentioned it. But I just wanted to quote. This is coming from statnews.com on June 17th. And I hate sentences that start with but anyway, I'm sorry, that's just me, whatever, semantics. So anyway, quote,
shit out, you bullshit.
My bad. But cases are surging in about half. I'm sorry. The country as a whole is tracking on about 20,000 new COVID cases to its 2.1 million infection tally each day, a clip that's been steady for weeks according to Stats COVID-19 tracker. But cases are surging in about half of states, some of which dodged major outbreaks in the spring as the Northeast and other pockets like New Orleans became inundated. The local outbreaks are leading to increasing hospitalizations in Arizona, Texas, Alabama, and the Carolina, raising concerns about capacity when the original rallying cry of flatten the curve was meant to prevent overwhelming healthcare systems. Yep. Now, one state that they didn't mention this in Stat News, and they may be actually coming from Florida because they had mentioned Florida, is that Florida's numbers are like spiking ridiculously. And the governor, DeSantis, is saying that while the CDC is saying wear gloves and wear masks as much as possible when you're in the public, he's saying I'm not requiring it in my state.
Yeah, he was like, it's the young people that fucked it up. And we doing testing. I'm not wording his word for word, but that's basically what he said. He's like, y'all young as y'all fucked it up. Y'all fucked it up. Y'all the reason why our numbers is up.
Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying? But he the one that opened everything up and said, go to that shit. And ain't put like no 6 feet distance for people. You know what I'm saying? He trying to blame the youngins and shit. When he was like, come to Florida, we open for business. You know what I'm saying?
I also feel that Andrew Gullum is still on his back. So for the listeners, if you don't remember,
who's that, please?
A tight governor race that they ran this past election to get Ron DeSantis into office, and Andrew Gillum came close to beating him. And basically, to separate himself from him, he ran the opposite of everything Andrew was saying. So you kind of see that with the way he's governing.
DeSantis said some dumb shit where he was like, the rise in the case of numbers is because of Hispanic workers. Mm-hmm. He said that like yesterday or 2 days ago. It's not the people going out and partying and being elbow to elbow at bars. It's Hispanic workers.
Well, I mean, that's a bald-faced lie, but
yeah.
The part being is, a lot of the Southerners, when they're exposed to other ethnicities, they really change. You know what I mean? So I've seen it with my own eyes. There's one place in particular I hated going, and it's nothing like what it used to be when Trump first got elected. Like, this place now actually...
What's that place? Virginia in general?
I do some jobs in the Shenandoah Valley, you know, and they're all named after Confederates. Generals.
Well, Virginia, because back in the day, that was Virginia was where it was at, because the fucking capital of the Confederacy was in fucking Richmond.
Yeah, well, yeah. You know, so
right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap up the coronavirus real quick, because this is Open Shots. Once again, openshotsdmv@gmail.com. Hit us up. You know, got any questions or comments? We started off with Black Lives Matter. We're just wrapping up with coronavirus. We're going to move on to Donald Trump, sports, and a couple of surprise topics. I just want to end it up last two points on coronavirus. Beijing has decided to cancel classes after their numbers have started to go on the rise, because that's the whole thing of complacency. So if Beijing, very close to the heart of where all this started from, as far as we know from Wuhan, if their classes are canceled, we need to start doing the same goddamn thing. Unfortunately,
yeah, but then they get a jump. Am I mistaken if they got the jump from a fucking another wet market, or was it somebody that visited a wet market and they was sick?
No, they came back up in Wuhan after they started to reopen again. They were doing the exact same thing. So I don't know if the numbers in terms of Beijing, I don't know that they're directly related. Well, obviously it kind of all comes from Wuhan, but I don't know that if somebody from Wuhan came to Beijing and spread it. I think
I thought it was a different strain. I thought it was a European strain that now Beijing got hit with.
I'm not sure, but the whole idea is that we're starting to be let's go ahead and start to get things back to normal. And now that they're kind of we're kind of normal, the numbers have just kind of boom again.
I'm probably the minority in this. I don't think, just what I was just telling my wife the other day. I was like, your 40th birthday party, that was the last weekend when we had a normal weekend. Your 40th birthday weekend, our lives are never going to be the same.
Is there a miracle drug that's supposed to be coming out now? Because I keep hearing something
this is the new normal in America. Get used to it.
I'm talking about a miracle drug or the vaccine. Are we close to that? Because it's they tried the Donald Trump that was taking the pills even though he shouldn't have been taking them. He was taking them, and now they're like, oh well.
The FDA was they discontinued that shit. I'm glad they did that because
Donald Trump was taking that shit. What an idiot, man!
And then didn't he have money invested in that shit? That shit.
I think Fauci's the co-founder, co-owner.
Man, I like Fauci too. Fuck him too now. Now that I found that out.
He had 6 people test positive.
So then I guess my question is: are there any miracle drugs out there? Are we close to a vaccine?
Man, look, 2021 in the summertime. That's when everybody gonna come outside because that's when the vaccine gonna come outside. I'm trying to tell you. Look, picture me. 2022, you're gonna see that shit on third flu. It's gonna say COVID-19. Everybody gonna buy that shit. That's when that shit. That's when motherfuckers gonna come outside. Third
flu then. Fuck it.
No, I'm talking about, you know, when you get the third flu, like severe flu, cold and cough, every time somebody throat itch, they're going to be like, oh, we're going to get the COVID-19 jump. Because if they ain't got the COVID-19 jump, I ain't trying to die. I'm telling you, that's when Rick coming outside. When third flu have severe flu, COVID-19, that's when the fuck I'm coming out.
So you're staying indoors till 2022?
I ain't fucking around. Look, my wife a nurse. She tell me,
I feel you. I feel you. Yeah. Okay. Once again, this is that show, Open Shots. Hit us up at openshotsdmv@gmail.com. I'm your host, Alex, along here with
Rick.
Rick, what you sipping on?
Shit, Jameson, you bullshit because you ain't got your liquor. I'm about to Heineken.
I'm about to get. Look,
I think you don't drink, so go ahead take some of your energy drink.
He's sipping on a smoothie
or blow some tree, whatever you do.
I'll drink.
He's sipping on a Red Bull smoothie, which is all good.
Next week.
Slurpee up in you be good.
The recap, we covered Black Lives Matter, umbrella topic, coronavirus. We just got through it again, umbrella topic. Let's move on to, oh my goodness, it's just too easy to do this. Let's go ahead and talk some Donald Trump. So Donald Trump has decided to hold a rally in Tulsa today, which we're recording on June 20th, 2020. And it also is the weekend of the Juneteenth celebration. Juneteenth, which was yesterday, 6/19. And Mr. Taylor, could you fill us in on the definition of Juneteenth and what the tradition is and what it really is?
All right, Juneteenth, basically, because I know everybody's seeing it here, then, and there, and you got the gist of it. So I'll just break it down to, it's just basically the celebration of slaves being free. You know what I mean? Okay. That's like the one day everyone can agree that's what happened. And we have some good and some bad with that. The horror of the holiday is as soon as people heard they were free, because keep in mind, this happened in 65, but the proclamation was in 63. So the slave owners had 2 years to prepare to let go of the slaves. And when they found out they had to let go of them, they didn't want to. A lot of them were even harsh. So that's the horror of the holiday. So keep in mind, you just, I don't understand why these people celebrating it. Because it was almost a massacre when you say, hey, I'm free, I want to go out there. And the people who are holding you still are saying, no, I'm going to beat you, I'm going to whip you, I'm going to make you know that you're still a slave. So that's the first major step. A lot of the descendants of the slaves or the ancestors had to overcome. But the best thing I like about this holiday is we get family reunions from it, right? Because a lot of the black families, they were sold into slavery, and they didn't know where, like, this is the first time brothers and sisters got to see each other. This is the first time that a mother who lost her kids got to see them as adults. So it's very huge, and it just kind of shows in this country how people come together and they try to find a way. They try to be that rose that grows through that crack. And I tear up just when I think about what that means to anybody who gets that, anyone who understands that, or anyone who thinks, dang, this is what my ancestors had to go to, is how family reunions became a thing in America, because people said, hey, if you meet me at this spot a year from now, I might be able to see someone I lost because they got sold away. So that's like one of the best things about this holiday.
Isn't Texas the only state that recognizes it as a holiday, state holiday?
Well, Minnesota, you could almost say so too. Minnesota, because I used to live in Minnesota, so where I almost got killed in the first Juneteenth.
And Virginia trying to pass it too.
Yeah,
trying to become state law. Yeah.
And I mean, in a sense, they kind of should, because there's a lot of things Americans in general can learn from this. This doesn't have to be a holiday only for black people. This can be a holiday where
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Like Thanksgiving. A lot of people say, "Oh, I don't like what happened with the Native Americans or not."
But we celebrate and we slaughter their ass.
I mean, that's not good, but we also
we celebrate the most ultimate fucking fuck you snake type massacre, shit in the world.
Massacre.
Yeah, come eat my turkey, and I'm gonna take all your fucking land in about 45 years. Nah, come on,
But I mean, it is a good chance to make a right out of a wrong. You know what I mean? I
agree. I think it should be a federal holiday. I mean, I know it's probably gonna be up to states, but shit, man, if you look at it, I mean, I don't know if you can compare the two, but fuck, we celebrate 4th of July. Why? We got an independence from England, right?
Yeah.
Why the fuck we can't celebrate when America's biggest sin in the world?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I guess it's the DNA of the country. If you don't want to make a holiday.
You understand what I'm saying? Because like at the 4th of July, back in the day, 400, not even for like 250 years ago, when there's still slavery going on, they were celebrating 4th of July, their independence, their freedom, but not everybody was free in America.
Yeah.
Donald Trump is holding one of his, re-election rallies in Tulsa, Oklahoma on the weekend of Juneteenth celebration, where Tulsa, Oklahoma, if you guys aren't aware, is where
I think he did that shit on
Black Wall Street. Well, yeah, I think he kind of did too. So if you don't know the history about Tulsa, Oklahoma, it was a very well-to-do, successful financial district known as the Black Wall Street. And it's the only time in U.S. history where military-grade weapons by the state, local, and federal governments were used to essentially massacre an entire community. And, hundreds of neighborhoods, houses were burned. Not one conviction, not one charge.
Come on, young. When was this at? You think they're going to get convicted? Come on, yeah.
Okay, so, but
I ain't saying it was right, but come on, yeah. Okay, like, what the fuck?
I agree, but what I'm saying is, does Donald Trump know what he's doing here, or is he ignorant to the fact?
No, he know what he's doing. He playing politics, Holmes.
So he's trying to get to the white nationalists and the racists to be like,
exactly what he doing, yeah. He playing. He knows it's election time. Look, I was talking to my mother the other day. I don't even want to bring my mother in it, but I ain't gonna be too long. But I was like, look, it ain't about being Democratic or Republican, right? It's about, this is the only, and like his other man said it, who used to work for him, this is the only fucking president who never tried to unite the country one fucking time. Remember 9/11? With the World Trade Center, all that shit? Imagine if Trump was president, how he would have went on Muslims the next day. George Bush was trying to bring everyone together, right? I've never seen Trump ever try to do this. Never. Name one time he tried to bring all Americans together, not just his base.
Yeah, well, I mean, he definitely has those photo ops with, like, the black caucus and all that stuff.
No, fuck the photo ops. I'm talking about his speech.
Yeah, I
can't. And when he had his chance in Charlottesville to really try to bring the country together, he fumbled that shit.
That said everything, really.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, once you do that, everything else, if he does do it, it's just
he's gonna go down, young. If he get reelected, he ain't gonna go down because he's gonna get that Supreme Court. That's gonna be his legacy. But if he's just a one-term president, he could go down as one of the worst fucking presidents in history. And it's hard to do that in the modern era. But he gonna do it.
And diversity.
He gonna do it, like he's like the worst.
I just wanted to get to the point of what you're saying with if Biden or Hillary can't win. All those people who didn't vote for Hillary, who didn't show up, they have to show up this time if they want to.
I think I think some people didn't want a female president.
Right, but I'm saying all those people that didn't.
I told you, my man didn't even vote. Okay, my man ain't even vote, and he vote, but he was like, he can't vote for no female president, and he ain't voting for Donald Trump. He just ain't vote.
A lot of people also didn't show up because they thought that Clinton had it in the bag, and obviously we saw what happened. But anyway, let's keep moving before we get derailed. Just got two more quick bullet points here before we run out of time on this topic. Also, this past week in Trump news, the Dreamers Act was upheld by the Supreme Court, and they pretty much was just like, they have a right to be in, to be in this country or to get, whatever Obama had passed. And the funny thing
he didn't pass, he executive ordered that shit.
Right. Well, but the thing is that if Donald Trump would have gone through the right channels and done it formally, the entire process, I guarantee you the Dreamers Act would have been removed. But the way he did it, he literally tried to kick people in the stomach and be like it's not an issue. So your guys' thoughts on the Dreamers Act in the Supreme Court?
I think Supreme Court did the right thing. That's why we need that fucking Ruth Bader, whatever her name is. We need her to stay alive.
RBG.
Because if they had a 6-3 advantage, it's over. Yeah. And the only reason why I think fucking, what's his name? Justice Roberts.
Yes.
He agreed with our liberals because he was like, this shit is fucking crazy. And one of us got to step up. And he stepped up.
Right on. All right. So last thing, Bolton's book is coming out this week.
Bolton.
With pretty much John Bolton is saying, like,
he's 6 months late.
He's unfit for office. He's working with other countries. He's more worried about like the image and the press.
I believe everything he says.
Things done. So, and then Donald Trump is trying to hold it back and be like, oh, national security. But the problem is the book has already been released to all the high profile press people.
But didn't a federal judge just say he could release it?
Yeah, because they tried to get it to block it.
Yeah.
Yep.
He could. So yeah, let that. I ain't gonna read that bullshit. I'm just gonna.
I'm not gonna read it either. I just want other people who
say the highlights because you know what I'm saying. He should have said that shit in January, but he was playing politics.
Well,
he's playing politics now. He's doing that shit, man. Everybody play politics, man. He's doing that shit right before an election.
So Rick, the book is coming out, and like we said, a lot of people have it. Mr. Taylor, you're saying you can't stop the book. The federal judge, like you just mentioned, I mean, what the book is gonna come out. The judge said it's coming out. Now, is there anything new? What's next? I mean, is he? Because in my opinion,
of the book. That's the thing. So the Democrats, they were upset that the content that people are starting to see in the book could have been used to impeach Trump.
Exactly. It's too late now. He playing politics. He playing politics now.
It wasn't politics because the book manufacturer, they have the time when the book comes out.
Yeah, but he still has the right to fucking come across to the fucking Congress and testify in the Senate is never going to allow any witnesses. That's a different story. But he could at least came in front of Congress and did it
with the book. So it's not just tied up to him going there, but it's the book company saying, yeah, we'll let you talk about this material. Because the first thing with the book, right?
So the book was playing politics. They playing money.
Well, no. The first thing with the books is he has to be declassified. So whatever he says in there is okay. So the federal people, they have to agree with that. And then
I'm talking about when he testified, he's no longer a federal employee. So he can no longer use executive privilege. So he could have told everything in front of Congress.
But no, because it's still with the book. It still ties in with the book. So the book made the situation a little more complicated because what he testifies in the book, does he have the right to say as well? Is there going to be a disclosure because he can't reveal stuff that's in the book? So that's why they're saying,
hey man, fuck that book. The fucking America's bigger than that damn book.
Once again, this is that show, Open Shots. Hit us up at openshotsdmv@gmail.com. I'm your host, Alex, along here with
Rick.
Rick, what you sipping on?
Well, some motherfucking Jameson. You hear me? You bullshitting on that fucking cinnamon shit and the motherfucking Ninja Turtles. You already know.
Right on. We got a special guest by the name of Mr.
Sean Taylor. No,
right on.
ST period.
And a special shout out once again to our producer by the name of Carlos G. So this is Open Shots, the date of June 20th, 2020. So let's get back into the topics. We started off with Black Lives Matter, umbrella topic. We started off with coronavirus. Then we followed up with coronavirus, another umbrella topic. We just got to our third topic and finished it with Donald Trump, another umbrella topic. And we're going to go ahead and move on to our fourth umbrella topic with right now is sports, the state of sports, NBA returning.
Hey,
MLB agreement, and what's the NFL looking like? So let's get into the NBA. The NBA is talking about they're going to be returning on July 31st, correct? And they're going to do some kind of whatever schedule. And they had a vote this past week of if they're going to return. And I believe that they voted that they're going to return to the season.
I believe June 24th is the last day for all players to say they're going to play so they can get into their 14-day quarantine.
Okay, so then you're going to have to explain the contract to that. But in general, what you said before, Rick, about are NBA players essential personnel, employees? Are they essential workers?
Say it again.
Are NBA players essential workers?
I don't believe they are, no.
So do you think they should be like –
I don't believe they should be playing, no.
Okay, but they have the option to skip it, and they have a contract.
They do. Well, the NBA is different from Major League Baseball because the NBA.
Obviously, we're talking NBA right now. So tell us about the.
Their salaries are already paid for because they already play more than 80% of their league. Okay, so there's nothing about prorated salaries. Any game they play, they're gonna get their money.
Work. Well, why go back to work then? With people dying and the potential to get sick, and you had at least Rudy Gobert, what's his name, Donovan Mitchell. Who else?
You know why I think they really want to go back? This is how I might be.
They want to give LeBron a championship.
No, LeBron is so sick right now because he saw The Last Dance, and he was like, his legacy is crumbling right before his eyes. He is so sick right now. Like, he watched all 10 episodes, and he felt worser and worser and worser for 5 fucking weeks and 10 fucking hours of watching that documentary, and he was like, I need to get back. I need to get back.
My initial response was they're trying to get LeBron a championship. But Kyrie Irving had some statements, which he was like, do we really need to go back to playing? And, a couple other players supported him. So there are players who, of course, are in support of getting back to play to, I guess, finish the season. But in general, I mean, looking at it from a business standpoint, because it is a business, is that if, like you said, if your salary's already been covered. Hold on, let me finish with this point. If your salary's already been covered, right? You're already paid. Then why put yourself?
If they go back, they're gonna get their last little bit of money that they're owed.
But they already got 80%.
They got 80% of their money.
I think you're good at making the majority. What's the league average? 250,000?
No, an NBA. Fuck no.
What's your lowest paid player?
Maybe like 800,000.
Okay, so I think they're good.
Maybe because the NBA, that's guaranteed money.
Yeah, so 80% of 800,000.
I mean, you get people like Tristan Thompson with $64 million for 4 years. Like he gets $16 million a year.
I'm talking about the average. So
that's what I'm saying. If his bum ass could get $16 million, what you think the average NBA player is getting? Like 800,000?
Well, I'm just saying, like the last guy roster.
$92,000 a minute.
Say it again.
What happened?
That's how much $92,000 a minute. That's how much our economy loses for sports not being in. So every minute, that's $90,000.
But that's profit though. Every NBA team and Major League team and NFL team, they make their money. No, the owners, they make their money off the TV networks. So they already got paid by TNT, ESPN. All they worried about is their profit now. They're not making a profit, but they made their money.
But hold on. Are we talking about the profit personal trainers do? So the people who train the athletes, are we talking about profits there?
They get paid by the owners. The owners, they only want the fans to come in because that's all profit.
Budweiser truck that comes.
But these TV deals that the NBA sign or the NFL sign, they sign fucking billion-dollar deals.
Rick, give Sean Taylor a second. Go ahead, Mr. Taylor. Go ahead, explain your side.
The beer trucks that bring the alcohol to the stadium, are they in that profit too? I don't think so.
No, they sell wholesale.
Their salary to the staff because they know they're not getting paid. So this 92.6 loss that we're talking about, these are people's jobs. It's not LeBron the only one getting a paycheck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they're not getting paid when the NBA come back anyway because there's going to be no fans in the stands. So who's drinking the beer? The athletes?
Well, and that's the point. So the whole entire point
for that league.
Is that the NBA has to get it rolling again. So next season, when everyone can come back, they're still going to have something going.
Owners make their money off ticket sales and people at the stadium. Well, they already made their money through the TV deals. That's why it's so fucking much. They have to split it through all the owners.
This is what you have. You have because more than likely it's going to be TV that's going to bring it to you. So it's going to be a TV deal, right? So now you have all the people, especially ESPN.
Right, and the owners, they're fine with that. But if they don't make no money from the concessions, they're bringing nothing in back. And at the end of the day, they're billionaires. They're businessmen. Well, so for them, that's dumb business if they're not making money. No businessman in my eyes would be like, I'm okay for losing money this year.
Well, all right. So I do have one question though, actually a recommendation. And this is just kind of, thinking.
Look at baseball. Baseball, there's like 8 owners saying, fuck this season.
Right. Okay.
Well, no, the problem with baseball is.
I got a question about the NBA. Let me just get to the one question about the NBA. So, if the NBA players are going to agree to come back and play, right? Which the owners, obviously, I'm in agreement with Rick for a majority of it, but they want, the owners need the players to come back and agree to playing. I believe that the owners should also have to attend those games.
Well, they want the players to play because they owe them motherfuckers their contract because they play 80% of their season, and they don't want to give them fucking free money, and y'all don't fucking play.
No, what I'm saying is,
let's not act like it ain't politics.
I'm not talking about the money. I'm not talking about what I'm specifically talking about is if the players come back and they agree to it, to play for the
season. They already agree. They're coming back.
Okay, so they're coming back. So then, I think the owners have to attend all of those games as well. They have to put themselves at risk in those type of environments, traveling, whatever the hell. I believe they have to do it.
That's unnecessary.
Why is it unnecessary? If you're asking for your player to be at risk,
yeah.
The owner should
if I'm a player, I'll be like, have y'all seen the way Florida is right now? Why the fuck would I want to go play in Florida?
Well, because this is the main thing I'm looking at, right? This is something that they're asking them, not telling them to do, but they're saying, hey, do you guys want to finish out the season? And there's numerous reasons. For me, it's tired of watching fucking Disney Afternoon and shit. There's nothing on. So a lot of people are losing their minds, but the bigger picture is definitely the security moving forward. If
one person come up positive, what do? What happens if game 1 in the NBA Finals, Kawhi Leonard tests positive for COVID?
Not Kawhi.
Do you,
Don't say Kawhi. Say anybody.
No, anybody. No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Do you stop the NBA Finals, or do you put him down as an injured player and you continue to allow the NBA Finals to happen?
We'll see, and that's what we want to see. We want to see.
But that's not an injury where you just be like, oh, he got the flu, he can't play this game.
Rick. Here's the thing we're looking at. You don't want to see that scenario happen. So this is the NBA saying we can try it. We can see if we can do that. And if it fails, then you're going to be in bigger trouble than you are next season, because people are going to go into it saying like, I don't know if we should have a next season. So you're looking at not only not finishing out the season, but not having a next season. But if this works, definitely you're looking at we can have a next season. Mm-hmm. That's the importance to me. That's the importance I see.
I don't even think there's going to be a next season now.
So that's what I'm saying.
So we're talking about that.
Might not be a next season, but you have this, then people are saying it's possible.
Okay, so we're talking about the NBA right now. All right, so no, wait, let me get in. So the NBA is talking about, let's try it, what you just said, Mr. Taylor. Let's try it, and if it works out, we can have another season. Okay, so I still think that I'm still the biggest proponent of the MLB has the dictator on if we're going to actually have live sports because of the ability to play outdoors. It's an outdoor game. So if you can play an outdoor game and be successful with no COVIDs, I think that proves something. And you could still have.
What do you mean? Motherfuckers are testing positive in spring training.
Oh, so then, yeah, I think that's.
What do you mean? That's why some of the owners are like, we shouldn't even have a season.
Yeah. So
no, baseball's problem is the guys, how they're breaking down their salaries, right?
No, I'm talking about getting sick.
No. The
in baseball, they got guaranteed contracts too. And the owners are trying to prorate their salaries. That's why the Major League Baseball players are like, nah.
Yeah, we're only getting paid for 70 games.
If I get $20 million a year and that's what I earn a year, and you trying to chop my shit down into 50 games, and that's what you want to pay me for the year?
Yeah, that's what they're doing. Yeah, that's what they're doing.
But that's not what we bargained agreed on. Right, exactly. Every sports league is a union.
Yeah. And that's what
you sign a CBA. So show me in the CBA where it says you could do that to my salary.
Okay. All right. Great question. Let's go ahead.
They won't have a season. It's not because of the health. It's the money.
And that's why they're not going to have a season, because the owners want to prorate salary, saying, so we're going to chop it down. Well, you're not playing a whole 160 games. You're only playing 50. So we just want to pay you for 50 games. And the players are like, no. Right. I signed $20 million. You owe me $20 million for a year.
I agree with the MLB. In this case. All right. So on our final wrap-up topic, State of the Union. How do you guys feel? What do you guys feel? Any thoughts in terms of like where we're at now, looking forward? Literally, the State of the Union as you see it. Anybody, go for it.
Okay. So one of the things I'm very intrigued with during the coronavirus epidemic, we are launching our SUV size rover to Mars. Rover. This is huge, because if we miss the window, we have to wait 2 years for it 2 years for that window for it to come back to be able to slingshot around the planet. And it costs us billions just to store all that equipment that's not going to be used. So this is a great achievement for us. The name of the rover is Perseverance, and that's the human spirit in tough times is to persevere.
That's my stripper name. Perseverance.
Woo!
Rick, what's up, man? You got any closing comments, State of Union?
Yeah, but there ain't no some shit serious like him. That's what I was going to say, dog.
Nah, it's your.
I'm so fucking blown right now, young. Y'all ain't gonna believe that. Yeah, look on motherfucking 2 weeks ago, I thought I bought some fucking pennies, right? The little penny 5 Jones, the purple Jones, wet. Them Jones wet as shit. And then I thought I bought me the purple phone pauses, right? Never wet Jones, man. Lowe's, them Jones wet, dog. Them Jones from the 80s and the 90s, right? And so I've been checking my junk, man. Like, where the fuck my shoes at, man? They told me 5-7 business days, right? So I go back looking at my emails from like almost like a week and a half ago. I'm still on a checkout jump. the emails. Hey, yeah. They sent me an email talking about please complete your order. The whole time I'm thinking they said order complete. I've been waiting for a fucking week and a half for my shoes to come in. I ain't even fucking hit click. I'm so mad right now, young.
Be mad at yourself.
Be mad at yourself.
Got money taken out of your account.
Nah, they ain't even take it. They ain't even take it because I ain't placed the order. When I go back to the email, they were like, please proceed with the order. I'm like, I thought the Jones said order complete. I'm checking my shit, where my shit at, because I'm wondering why I can't find like a tracking order. I'm like, and I'm reading the shit, but I'm not really reading it. Like I hit it and I see my shoe. I'm like, yeah, they go my shoe.
Specific things. You're looking for like, where's the tracking order delivered? Like, I don't see none of that. But you know what? That has nothing to do with budget. That has nothing to do with budget or
cuz. That's literally. You know how blown I am right now.
Did you get your shoes?
Did you know how?
Did they sell out?
Hey, young. Them flight pauses was so fucking wet
Did you get them or are they sold out? You couldn't get them? All right, so let me go ahead and wrap up with my State of the Union, and this is just something that kind of whatever. Those are Ravens colors, by the way. So thanks for supporting that purple and black. I went to like I told you guys, I went to this barbecue jam out in Virginia. You know what I'm saying? Great. It was like 30 minutes from like literally from my door to their door. 30 minutes. No traffic with everything Corona, and I got out there, and then after I left, I was like, I don't know that I was in a, me friendly type of part of the country. And it only took me 30 minutes to get to that place from my house. You know what I mean? And then I see videos of places like South Philadelphia, of places that surround them where they are upholding Christopher Columbus statues, and they don't want it to be harmed. And literally, seeing protesters in New Jersey with people on the other side of the fence yelling, excuse me if I offend anybody, but I'm quoting, other people with the Black Lives across the fence from seeing the Black Lives Matter movement, and they're going to say these kind of things to them, So one of the things of the State of the Union for me is that for all of those people who thought that like racism went away and like we fixed racism, it has always been there. Now it's just being emboldened. But there are a lot more non-racist people, who rational people who understand things like Jesus' name was Jesus. When's the last time you met a white guy named Jesus? But yet all his friends' names are Mark, Luke, John. That story totally makes sense. But when you explain these type of stories to ignorant people, they'll never comprehend it. So my State of the Union, kind of ending right now, what I'm seeing is that racism has always and will always be around us. We see that in Latin America. We even see that in Africa. But we have to be aware of it and either adapt and overcome or stay in the same lane and fall behind, because you can't have both.
Yeah.
No rebuttal. A rebuttal would be good on something.
Madden 21 trailer.
Madden 2021 trailer? What?
Yeah.
Hey, man, you can't see me. Man, I'll bust that ass.
So that is our show for June 20th, 2020. Happy Juneteenth weekend. Happy Juneteenth Friday. If you're going to the Chump rally, good luck. Just in general, don't get sick. Get sick. You know what I mean. Just whatever. Open shots, dmv@gmail.com. I'm your host, Alex, along here with
Rick.
Rick, what you sipping on?
I ain't all my shit gone, but I got shit more in the fridge. But motherfucking Ninja Turtles and Jameson, Jameson, plug me in. I drink it all day and Tito's. Fuck with me,
Mr. Taylor. What you sipping on? You finally get a drink or
next week for sure? Next week.
All right. And a special.
You got a cup of water.
A special thanks once again to our producer by the name of Carlos. We need a designated driver. So once again,
smoke some blood. Shots, do what you gotta do.
@gmail.com. Check us out on Spotify. We're on YouTube. We're also on iTunes podcast. So this is a show outside of the box for the DMV. Hopefully you enjoy the time. Hopefully you'll be back with us.
Stop drinking that cheap ass shit too.
Yeah, well, it's free. I just didn't have to stop. I'm saying it's still free. So, all right, we'll see y'all in 2 weeks. Thanks for listening, and hope y'all.
Yeah, I need to email them. Tell them stop drinking that cheap shit.